back. This is the Shillan and Duffy show, the recap show.
Hey,
this
I'm
is
right
a
here.
special
Check.
edition
It's
of
my
the
level.
recap show, and what I'll explain in a second. We are recapping a Wednesday card, an early morning Wednesday card. UFC Chiesa versus Magny, also called UFC Fight Island 8, also called UFC on ESPN 20. The reason why I'm calling this a special edition, besides the Wednesday card, me and Ben, who I'm going to introduce in a second, it's just extremely tough. We tried different ways we could recap this card. It's just extremely tough being Wednesday during midweek, also during the week of a pay-per-view. We do our preview shows on Wednesday night. We want to get the recaps out as soon as possible to be, it's as time relevant as possible. But also, we don't want the previews going out too late. So what we did, we came with a compromise. We're going to do a very short, condensed version of our recap. So what we're going to do is we're going to recap the main event. We're going to do the fun stuff we do at the end, and that's going to be it. If you have never listened to our recaps before, please don't judge our normal recaps just by this short, condensed one. Make sure you check out our recap of UFC 257 to have more of an idea where we cover every single fight. That's not going to be the case here. So helping me, as always, with this is, of course, the senior editor of SureDog.com, the great Ben Duffy. Ben, how's it going, my man? And right now, every one of our listeners from Europe and Australia and stuff all felt very bad.
I'm
for
doing
you.
all right. A little sleepy. Just
let's get right into it. The main
for
event,
the
we had
benefit of
welterweight
those
showdown
listening.
between
If you don't know,
ranked
I
welterweights.
work
We had Michael
nights,
Chiesa going against
so
Neil Magny.
basically,
we
the
were split
card
on
this
this.
morning started right at my
You
bedtime.
picked
I powered through as
Michael
much as I
Chiesa,
could,
who was actually
slept for a
the
couple
underdog in
hours,
this
and
matchup.
then
I
watched the
picked
rest of it. But
Neil
I am
Magny.
raring to go.
It was not a fight at all. Michael Chiesa just absolutely cruised to a unanimous decision doing Michael Chiesa things. Michael Chiesa just took down Neil Magny.
Yeah, I'm
rinse and
sure.
repeat, won some scrambles. So let's just get right into this. Michael Chiesa, I said on the breakdown, is a one-dimensional fighter. I still believe that. I believe it probably even more now than ever. I asked this question, and I want to ask you again. How impressed are you with Michael Chiesa, being that he's one-dimensional in, now 2021? This isn't 1993 anymore. To be as one-dimensional as he is and be as good as he is, like, how impressed are you by that?
I'm very impressed. I like specialists. I enjoy having specialists still doing well over 25 years into this great experiment. The MMA is always going to be an arms race. From the very first days, it was everybody learning that, oh, hey, this
the
kung
last
fu movie
person
shit
that
doesn't
I
work
would
in a real fight.
categorize
You
as
need to know
one-dimensional
jujitsu.
that was very, very
Then a
successful.
few years
We
later, it was,
haven't had
oh
a
man,
striker that
if
was
you're an
one-dimensional
American
that became
wrestler
very
and you've
successful
got that
because
core strength
it's
and
very easy
those
to
entries and
eventually
shots,
take down a
and
striker
you
and beat him
have
that way.
been
But
cutting
we've
weight
had-
since you were
had
13 years
grapplers,
old,
wrestlers
you're
who
just
were
going to
pretty
punt these people out of the
one-dimensional
cage.
successful.
And
But
it
in
just
recent
rolled on and
memory,
on. It's been an arms race,
probably Damian
but
Maia is
the
your
general
best
trend has been
best
for fighters
example.
to get
But what
more
really impressed me
well-rounded.
about Michael Chiesa is when you talk about Damian Maia is elite of elite in the jiu-jitsu department. When I think about Mike Chiesa and I think about the two major parts of grappling, it's wrestling and jiu-jitsu, or wrestling, a submission, whatever you wanted to say, I don't view Michael Chiesa as an elite wrestler, and I don't view him as an elite jiu-jitsu practitioner. But somehow he has made this work, which is even more impressive to me.
Well, I think what's great about it is I don't know how Michael Chiesa would do if he just entered the Mundials at the black belt level or he went to Abu Dhabi. I don't know how he would do, but he has an incredibly well specialized grappling game for MMA. He has gotten great at things that work in no holds barred fighting. And he does have something in common with Maia in that neither of them is a great traditional wrestler, but they both have developed a nice arsenal of ways to get the fight to the floor. Damian Maia was never going to have an explosive double leg, but he just developed a very tricky set of kind of sweeps, trips, standing back takes that he would then use to drag the fight to the floor.
I'm really glad
Chiesa has a little bit of that.
Magny
I'm sure we're going to probably get a little bit into the X's and O's, but I think part of the reason this was so lopsided, and even though I picked Chiesa, I would not have picked him to sweep all 5 rounds,
but that was kind of the strategy.
Is how much Magny obliged his game. I was surprised at how easily Magny yielded the clinch
drop, which is really ironic.
Even knowing that that's really it was really going to be Chiesa's only way of getting the fight to the floor.
As soon as he got lazy lateral dropped, then it was just a grappling match for the remainder of about 22 and a half minutes. And a lot of times it was Magny, like you said, getting into range. And I don't know if it was a ego thing where now he wanted to start winning those, or if there was moments in the grappling that he thought he could start winning. And it was a lack of, because there was some scrambles. He got in some positions briefly. But at the end of the day, Michael Chiesa is just really good at winning scrambles. It's not always the prettiest grappling, but he finds himself. There was a moment where they were kind of tangled up and they looked like two cats like fighting over a thing of yarn. And DC was talking about getting the high head. They were both in the 50-50. And I just, before the move was over, I knew Magny would not be able to get his head up first, that it was going to be Chiesa, that he was going to find a way, and he did. And then he won the scramble and he won the round. And the other thing is, when he had Magny on his back, flat, his shoulders against the back, the round was over. He had so much high pressure. It was really impressive. So we're not going to talk too much about this main event because, like I said, we're going to do a very short show. But what is the ceiling for Michael Chiesa? Because, I mean, he's in that conversation now. Like, if Gilbert Burns or Kamaru Usman falls out of the main event of their matchup, like, I wouldn't be shocked if Chiesa's phone call, gets the phone call. I don't think he'd be the first choice, but he wouldn't be the most, oh my God, I can't believe he got the call. Where did this come from? Yeah.
He's on that next tier, and the people who would get that first phone call are kind of the people that he should be looking to fight next. I think his ceiling is I expect that he will earn a title shot at some point. Yeah, I think the ceiling for a true specialist.
They had obviously striked in that, but I mean, where you think of
today's UFC, it appears to be a title shot. Damian Maia made it to title shots in 2 different divisions.
As good as it gets for
Stephen Thompson made it to 2 title shots in 1 division, and he's about as much of a specialist as you'll find. Like, he's your striking specialist who fought all the way to the top of his division.
He's the 2 guys fighting for the title: Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, and then the guy he actually called out, Colby Covington. Like, those are 3 guys that just, to me, seem like this game would not have worked against. I mean, like, Chiesa is a fantastic grappler, but would he want to take down a guy like Gilbert Burns?
I agree. I agree that all 3 of those are just miserable matchups for him, in the same way that Covington and Usman in particular were miserable matchups for Maia. I say how much I love that Chiesa called out Covington
like that,
while
that
openly acknowledging what a dreadful style matchup it is. He just flat out said,
it's Michael Chiesa.
With our styles, he should beat me. On any given Sunday.
Let's match make
but if I don't want to fight the guys like that, then what business do I have saying I want to be a champ?
I wouldn't do that.
I mean, this guy must just leave a trail of sparks behind him as his brass balls drag on the pavement.
You still have like that golden goose that's out there, that golden ticket, whatever you want to say, of Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. I think the UFC has blown moments by not doing the obvious choice and kind of always kicking the can down the street. I think of Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington, like how much they lose when they actually got to face each other. Jorge Masvidal has already lost a little bit of shine. Being out, obviously losing to Kamaru Usman. Colby Covington lost some shine by losing to Kamaru Usman. He also hasn't been that active. That's a matchup I think has to happen. I've been saying for Diaz, McGregor 3, the longer you put it off, the less lure it has. I kind of feel the same way. So I wouldn't do the Covington matchup. So then that really limits the field of what he, trying to balance what makes sense and what he deserves. So to me, I don't think he gets a title shot off of this. So I would do the loser of the title shot. Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. That's what I would do. What would you do? And
okay.
Chiesa deserves Leon Edwards.
I like the loser of the title shot.
They
that's
both
fine.
Deserve each other more.
Or I also like either the loser or winner of Covington Masvidal if they can make that quickly.
We're not going to matchmake for
I like him versus Leon Edwards if he'll stop trying to make the Chimaev fight. I know they're trying to make it on March 13th. I'm not going to believe it until I see him on the scale. Like this is quickly becoming a cursed fight. So I mean, any of those is good.
Yeah, I picked the outcome wrong, but. I picked the winner wrong, but not the outcome. I did predict that if Chiesa win, this is exactly how it would go. There's me trying to somehow make it like I got to win as easily as possible, but I picked the fight terribly wrong. Okay, let's do the fun stuff.
Nope.
Let's do the
Except that
first.
I correctly predicted it wouldn't be a banger, like it was an important fight, but not super exciting.
UFC, both me and Ben have to pick them to be on our official cut list. I have 2. How many do you have for the list? Okay, let's hear your one. Yeah, I'm with you. He was on my list. The one that is not cut from our list that I had on my list. I'm surprised you didn't.
My one
Vinicius
is
Moreira.
Perez. He's lost 3 in a row.
0-4 in the UFC with 4 knockouts.
I believe
knocked out
2 and 5 in the UFC, and he had kind of a weird, quirky charisma. Like putting on Joker makeup and stuff like that.
The Bulls and the Bears.
It's just not
unfamiliar with the reference. It's a stock market reference when things are going up. It's a bull market or a bull stock when things are going down. It's a bear market. Bear stock. We do this kind of hockey style, like the 3 stars of the night, where we can rank them 3, 2, 1. Do you want to do Bulls or Bears, and do you want to go first or second?
I forgot all about him. Yeah, no, he's gone. Thank you.
Okay, sure. I will. My number 3 Bear. So this is not good. It's Tom Breeze. Tom Breeze lost to Omari Akhmedov. I said in the Brandon Allen fight that I looked like when he got to the mat that he gave up. I thought the same thing here. I felt like he wanted out. Paul Felder even made like a comment,
let's do Bears
that.
First.
Even if that isn't
if
the
you
case,
have Bears good to go, then you go first.
It's been 2 times in a row where he got taken to the ground and got absolutely mauled between Brandon Allen and Omari Akhmedov. He was the favorite in this fight. That's just two really bad showings. So I think his stock is completely fallen. My number 2, Neil Magny. He actually was the favorite in this fight. He had looked absolutely fantastic in his last 3 fights since his long layoff. He continues to struggle against the upper echelon in the welterweight division, and also it's his defensive wrestling. Like we was when we thought there might be signs of him improving, it looked worse than ever before. So I think we know at this point, he'd been written off before, and we kind of invited him back in, and now I think he's going to get written off again as an upper echelon guy. That's what I mean by that. And my number 1 is one of the biggest upsets on the card, the co-main event. Munir Laziz, I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong. He was nearly a 3-1 favorite against Warley Alves, who we were both talking looked not good against Randy Brown in his last fight. And Warley Alves ran right through him, got a liver kick, body shot knockout. So not a good night for him. So those are my 3 bears. Who do you have on your list?
My number 3 was Munir Laziz. We just saw it last week with Joaquin Buckley. Laziz, his job is secure. He'll be back, but it's a fine line between being the next big thing and just becoming another guy, especially in that division, in welterweight. So this is a huge step back for him. He's probably not going to be the Khamzat Chimaev of 2021 now. And that was certainly on the table if he kept styling on people. So, yeah, definitely stock down for him. Stock down also for Tom Breeze for the same reasons you said. Not only that he lost, but he lost in a way that kind of plays into the worries that we had about him.
I'm huge on Mike.
And
so we might have to
number 1,
on but
Mason Jones.
I understand.
He looked good.
The comparison is to Conor McGregor.
He came across as a 2-division champ
100%
from a respected feeder organization, and quickly learned that does not guarantee you anything.
It was a great
lost
fight. Probably the
pretty straightforward manner. Great fight.
Let's go to the Bulls. Obviously, this
just
is
another guy
in
the UFC lightweight division. If that.
Who are your 3 Bulls?
Yeah. Hey, and I had Davis big in this one. It was closer than I expected, but yeah. Manon Fiorot. Anytime, again, someone comes across from Europe, and especially someone like her, on tape, she looked fast, she looked big and looked powerful. I always want to see them in the UFC at least once first. I've been burned too many times, but she absolutely looked to be the real deal. Obviously, Victoria Leonardo, it's jury is still out on whether she's a UFC quality flyweight, but Fiorot looked fast and powerful. Obviously, her striking's on point given her background, but she had not faced any decent competition in her MMA career except for the time she lost. And this gives me hope that, okay, she is still developing and she is going to be a real factor in this division going forward. All she needs to do is keep winning. If she does, she has the style, she has the look. The UFC will push her hard. Number 2, Warley Alves. He's always been capable of doing spectacular things, but been super inconsistent and been getting more so as time went along. I mean, we talked about the Randy Brown fight where he looked terrible, but the fight before that, he iced Sergio Moraes with the double hitch flying knee and everything. It's just a matter of consistency for him. I said in our preview that I didn't believe in him. Maybe I need to change my mind. Maybe he's making a turnaround. He's not that old, and he has all the talent in the world. Number 1, Michael Chiesa. Yes, he won. Yes, I picked him to win. I didn't pick him to sweep all 5 rounds. I didn't expect him to look this good in 4th and 5th rounds. It wasn't as spectacular.
All right, fantastic. I like your list a lot. We agreed on one of them. My Bulls, my number 3 Bull.
I said last week we had just the ultimate Max Holloway performance. This was close to the ultimate Michael Chiesa performance. It was just a completely smothering
what I mean by
grappling performance where he put himself at almost no risk on the feet.
If I say this wrong,
just didn't expose himself to danger in the way that he typically loses fights. So, my number 1 Bull, Michael Chiesa.
I believe a week ago or a couple days ago, it was announced Francis Ngannou, who obviously has connections to France, be fighting for the heavyweight title. That goes with Cyril Gane, who has connections to France, who seems like everybody's favorite prospect, at least in the heavyweight division. And that goes less than a year after MMA has been legalized in France. So everything going great for French MMA right now. My number 2 is I'm going to go famous fighters' relatives. And I'm putting 2 people in that category, Umar Nurmagomedov and Francisco Figueiredo. Umar Nurmagomedov is the cousin of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Francisco Figueiredo is the brother of Davis and Figueiredo. Obviously 2 title holders, maybe, I guess, if he's a title holder in the UFC, 2 fantastic fighters. And both of them picked up wins in the UFC debut, so that was a good night for famous fighters' relatives. And my number 1 is, I thought, was the best performance of the entire card. She was a big favorite, but Roxanne Modafferi makes fights close and grimy, and she's pulled off big upsets. That was not the case with Vivian Araujo. Vivian Araujo looked absolutely fantastic. From a tech, I'm kind of sad that we're not breaking down technically. I'll do my best to break down as quick as I possibly can. Her footwork, I couldn't stop looking at her footwork. Her footwork was on point, and the way she was attacking a variety remind me of a lot of what Demetrius Johnson used to do in his prime. Always changing everything was coming at you, the variety, the rhythm. She was 1 minute she was going like jabbing in and out. Next minute she was bobbing weaving side to side. Then she was switching stance and throwing hooks on the outside. Then she was changing her jab distance. Then she was going to the body. Then she was stepping in with power shots. She'd start grappling. Like, it was just absolutely pillar to post performance. So my number 1 Bull, Vivian Araujo. Last question. What was your overall grade on a Wednesday? And does the Wednesday early morning help the grade, hurt the grade, or have no impact on the grade?
It has something of an impact on the grade, but it's a me problem.
The Wednesday,
since I was tired.
Banger.
I had
great, so that kind of
basically the whole main card spoiled for me because I knew the results before I watched it. I can't let that affect it. I give this card an A-. About as fast moving as a 14-fight card can be. A couple of interesting upsets, a couple of surprisingly good debuts. Good card. Woo!
Yeah, maybe that's it. So there you go, guys. Have it. This is our special edition of recap. Not what you're usually expecting, but the best we can do. What we're going to do right now, we're going to edit this, get it up, and we're going to tape the preview for UFC 257.
But you know what?
I think versus Dustin
I would have graded it lower if I watched it in real time. Because watching the main event, already knowing it was like a 50-45 shellacking, I didn't have the expectations, so I didn't have the letdown. Maybe that's what it is.
Out there, and that is a must listen to. We're not making any change in that. That's take priority. Yeah, you didn't do any. You didn't know that? You didn't do any tape study? Oh, yeah. You ever heard of that guy? All right, guys. Thanks for listening.